IVM.
We would like to thank HDFC Life Insurance for supporting this show. HDFC Life Insurance has created an online video series called Behind the Journey with some of the most interesting people from the creative and entertainment industry. It explores the stories that are behind the glitz and glamour of the spotlight and screaming fans. Let's listen to a snippet from the episode featuring Olympic medalist Sakshi Malik.
सेविंग्स और इन्वेस्टमेंट में भी डिसिप्लिन चाहिए होता है. जैसे रेसलिंग में है कि वो तुरंत रिजल्ट नहीं मिलता है, सालों साल लगते हैं जो भी हमने ड्रीम सोचा, जो हमें गोल अचीव करना है उसको पूरा करने के लिए.
Like Sakshi said, investment and saving requires as much discipline as athletics. You can watch all the episodes of Behind the Journey on the HDFC Life Insurance YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/HDFC Life. Take control of your personal goals with HDFC Life Insurance's financial solutions. Plan now with HDFC Life Insurance.
Terms and conditions apply. HDFC Life Insurance Company Limited, IRDAI registration number 101.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Habit Coach podcast. Very recently, I had done a talk at Soho House to celebrate the podcast turning 1. The topic of the talk was 10 habits for 2020. And it got such a good review, I thought that I would share these 10 habits with you in a 3-part series. So this is the first episode where we're going to be talking about 3 of these habits. Okay, so buckle up and listen to what are the habits that I feel are essential for us in 2020. The first one is what I call intention setting. If you look at the last decade, there was such a focus on trends. Things that were trending. As soon as it became cool, everyone had to try and do it. And we did things without thinking or without asking why we're doing these things. Suddenly a fad diet would start and everybody would jump on that. Recently it was keto and everything was keto brownies, keto this, keto that. Everyone's overdosing on bacon. The whole idea is that why are we jumping onto trends without actually understanding how they started and are they important for us? Zumba as a trend suddenly exploded. Yoga as a trend exploded again. Vaping suddenly came into being. There were so many trends that started. This last decade was about trends. I want the next decade, 2020 onwards, to be about intention. Why are we doing what we do? And if we don't have a strong why, we fail at the things we start. If you don't have a strong why would you even continue, right? The really scary thing is that if we don't have a strong why, we don't even start half the time. How many times have you heard people say, I'm going to start my diet from Monday. I'm going to start exercising next month. I'm going to start doing this then. Why are they pushing the dates away? It's only because they don't have a strong enough reason or a why to start. Everyone started running, I will also start running. It's herd mentality that we are following. Instead, what I want you to do as a very conscious effort to say, I am not going to do things that I don't have a strong enough reason for. So the first habit to think about is why you want to start doing any of these. And over this talk, you'll understand that there are so many different habits that we're talking about, and feel free to reject these habits if they don't make sense to you and if you don't have a strong enough why for them. The last point I want to talk about this why is, if you don't have a strong enough why, and if you do things for the sake of doing them, those are the things that sap our energy. Those are the things that make us feel tired. Those are the things that actually pull out all the effort and motivation and self-discipline that we are consciously trying to create in our lives. So if you don't have a strong enough why, there's absolutely no point in starting. So your habit for intention setting, is ask yourself why 3 times for whatever it is that you want to start. I want to lose weight. Okay. Why do I want to lose weight? I want to lose weight because I want to look good in my clothes. Okay. Why do you want to look good in your clothes? I want to look good in clothes because I'm tired of wearing these baggy clothes and people making fun of me. Why are you tired of people making fun of you? Because I'm not feeling confident anymore. Now you understand that your weight loss was not about the clothes, was not about because I have to lose weight, but it's about your own confidence. And if every time you're eating that spoonful of brownie and you're thinking, is this going to help me with my confidence or not going to help me with my confidence? It becomes easier to stick to those things and start those things. Which is why when you're thinking about whatever goal or whatever habit you want to put in place, it all starts with the intention behind what you're going to be doing. The second habit I want to talk about is what I call achievement versus process. The last decade was all about a fixation on achievement. All about I want a reward now. The last decade was all about immediate gratification and impatience. I want 100 likes on Instagram within an hour. There was no time taken to saying that certain processes take a while to form. Being impatient, I want it now, and it translates into this very scary thought about I will only be happy when. I will be very happy when I get myself a Mercedes. I will only be happy when so-and-so starts talking to me. I will only be happy when I get a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Now, think about it. Till that point happens, you're not going to be happy. So, every time we are so fixated on our achievement, on our reward system, or on our goal, we never actually enjoy the process. And what I'm going to be talking to you about today is how to figure out how to enjoy the journey and focus on the journey instead of focusing only on the goal or the target that you have in mind. Because what happens is, when you only focus on the goal or target, we have this overnight success mentality. We only see the success of people. We never see the hard work that went into it, the late nights, the friendships that were broken. We never look at those aspects of it. And hence we believe that the process was simple. The process was easy. I'm here to say that no. Any goal worth achieving is going to be hard. The process is going to be hard. You have to fall in love with the process first. The process first has to make you happy. Only then can you actually think about the goal making you happy. So, your habit for thinking about this whole thought about achievement versus process is to create things that you do every day towards your goal that you enjoy and fall in love with. Small things that make the journey fun. Like for me and this podcast, right? I committed to doing 3 podcasts every week from doing 0 podcasts, right? And imagine that. Suddenly I had to put in the work into getting my scripts in order, getting my ideas in order, getting the habits in order. And it's a lot of work. Now, I could have sulked and said that, oh, why am I doing this? But what I did instead was I figured out something that I find fun and hilarious to do, which are the opening lines of my podcast, which are the Did You Know facts. I have a blast searching for them online because every time I have to search for one fact, I have to go through 20 others to find this one perfect one to put on the podcast. So for me, searching for that fact is the fun part of it. When I go and work out, for me, the fun part of it is having a playlist of these 20 songs that I dig, 20 songs that motivate me. And I look forward to listening to those while I'm working out. So you have to think about the process and what aspect of the process you can make fun for yourself, what aspect of the process you can start enjoying. Because the goal will come, but the goal will only come if you follow the process. And half the time, if you hate the process, if you think life sucks, if you think work sucks, how are you ever going to reach your goal? Because you're going to give up half the way. So identify things that you will enjoy doing. The third habit I want to talk about is what I call learning and teaching. How many of you learned a lot of things last year? Read a lot of books, read a lot of articles. Now, how many of those things do you remember? You see, what happens is that there's a problem. We learn, but we forget. And this habit is about figuring out how you can learn and not forget. If you're not learning at all, if you feel that you've not learned anything new last year, that's a different problem altogether. But that's a problem that we should address because you should create this habit of curiosity in you. You should be curious about the way life works, curious about everything, because ultimately through curiosity is how you grow. You learn new things, you're able to connect new ideas, you're able to be creative because now you have so much information to pull an idea from. And typically, you heard of people saying, oh, read books. I keep getting messages on my Instagram saying that what are the books that you're reading right now? Strangely, last year I didn't read that many books. The year before that, some 50 odd books. Last year, I didn't read that many books. But what I did was I found other sources of information that were very interesting. So let me share some of them with you. So the first is, of course, podcasts. I've been listening to podcasts for the last 6-7 years, which is why I wanted to start my own. And podcasts are brilliant because what they do is they get you in touch directly with the person having the ideas. So you can hear it from the horse's mouth about how people are thinking about certain things. And that's a brilliant way of learning and increasing your knowledge. The second is through a program called masterclasses. So there are these masterclasses online. I have no affiliation with them, but I listen and watch them all the time. So there's one masterclass where an astronaut was talking about space travel, which I found so fascinating. Then there was another one where Usher was talking about performance. Now imagine learning about various fields from the best in those fields. How amazing is that? And now in this era where you can have so much information and so much quality information, it's almost criminal not to access it. Videos on YouTube, for example. If you're watching kitten fails and falling off a table and wasting time with that, sure, there is a time for that. But there must be a time for when your YouTube channel looks chock-a-block of ideas that you're exploring. Somebody wants to get into the environment space. Does your YouTube channel look chock-a-block full of things about saving the world and plastic, etc.? That's how I think about it, and that's how I create these reference materials. The next is coaches, right? Why do the top performers in the world have multiple coaches to teach them things? Because the coach has already gone through what you're going through. So you might as well learn from the best, learn from people who've walked these steps and probably follow them and hopefully overtake them. Because a coach can only take you so far. You have to, at some point of time, grow beyond the coach. And ultimately, that's the goal. The next is if you have a body goal, or if you want to start training, then you need a personal trainer. Invest in a personal trainer. Learn from how they are teaching or how they have got their success. Finally, the one that I love is just simply ask for help. There is so much you can learn from people by just simply asking and asking for help, saying that, listen, I don't know how to do this. Can you please show me? But learning and curiosity is only one half of the equation. You have to remember the thing so that you can use it for the rest of your life. And what I found as a fantastic way of remembering is as soon as I learn something, I teach 3 people that thing. So as soon as I learn something new, I will bombard my friends with, hey, you know what? Something like this happens and then this happens. And that's how in my head I start remembering it. This podcast is a fantastic example of this because every time I learn something new, I want to share it with you. And as a result, it gets etched in my mind. So the idea is think about learning plus teaching as a way of actually cementing these ideas in your mind instead of just good information that came your way and probably flittered away. So to conclude, the 3 habits for this episode are: ask yourself why 3 times before you choose a strong why. Ask yourself why 3 times to create a really strong why instead of just following trends. The second habit was to think about the process and how you can make the process fun, make it a habit instead of just focusing on the goal and then saying life sucks. And the third habit is to learn and then teach people. Teach 3 people something that you've learned new. What this does is that it cements the idea in your mind so you don't forget it and actually use it in the future. Stay tuned for the next episode where I will talk about the next 3 habits that I feel are essential for us in 2020 and the decade that's about to come. So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome 180.
I hope you enjoyed that show. We'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week. Thank you, HDFC Life, for coming on board. Also, would like to thank Storytel for continuing the long-time advertising that they've been doing with us. And if you have a brand and you'd like to advertise with us, please send us an email. We'd love to talk to you. And let me tell you a couple of things that you should check out this week. On Top Retails, Madhuri tells the story of Manjula Taylor, who stitches buttons on each piece of clothing as she paves her way as a working mother. On the Pragati podcast, Amol Agarwal gives Pawan a tour of the rise of modern banking in India. On Edges and Sledges, there's a bonus episode out where DJ, Ashwin and Varun have a special guest on, Craig McMillan, former New Zealand cricketer. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam is joined by Avinash Luthria, a SEBI-registered investment advisor, to talk about 5 common misconceptions around investing. On Pulia Bazi, hosts Saurabh and Pranay discuss the randomized control trials that led to the Economics Nobel Prize. Thanks and keep listening.
Remember the last vacation you took? What about the one you took 3 years ago? Okay, how much do you really remember? It's a question I've asked myself often over a decade of traveling the world. Hey, I'm Utsav and I do not travel the world for a living. I have a full-time job and responsibilities, but I have made traveling the world a priority. Priority enough that I negotiate extra leave in my job contracts, obsessively track my frequent flyer miles, and I'm willing to take off at the sight of a cheap ticket. Yes, I am cheap. I have lived and worked in 3 countries. I understand human behavior for a living. And these experiences have given me unique insights into places, people, and culture. With over a decade of travel behind me, I increasingly realized one thing, that we cannot see everything. So whatever we see, we must see deeply. Because as the film of memory decays, the imprints which will stand the test of time are the ones felt by the immersion of the senses, not by fleeting encounters with them. Postcards from Nowhere is an immersion into the world of slow travel, one story at a time. Tune in every Thursday on the IVM Podcasts app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.